I saw a great talk by Mark Lewis at the National Gallery last fall, and there was nobody there, and it really was an incredible talk. But I wanted to pick up on your Patrick's comments about patrons and young patrons. And in Toronto, where some of us have just come from, there's a very vibrant patron community. And in Ottawa, we're not finding it. And I don't know, there just seems to be such a disconnect. We all sort of spin around in different orbits, and there's no momentum, and there doesn't seem to be any kind of way to kind of come together and look and learn about contemporary art and different, unless we are lucky enough to hear about different things and we can come and participate. It's very difficult, whereas in Toronto, everything's kind of all laid out, and if you want to participate and want to learn, it's very easy to do so. So just from this perspective, what would be your commentary on how to bring, the patron side together and help it to congeal a bit, to provide a bigger market for contemporary artists in Ottawa?
I think every single day we arrive at the gallery and we work 7 days a week. We try to accomplish that in every single thing that we do every day. And a lot of it is trial and error. We try everything. I'm trying to stay very positive because that's what we need. I think that we try everything. We try artist talks. We've tried collectors' evenings. But I think that there is a suspicion in the city that any time you suggest to somebody that they should purchase something, that you are somehow going to rob them or do something nasty to them, or it's terrible, or this is. I get people calling me all the time asking if there's an admission charge at my gallery. I think it's just, I don't know how to answer your question. We try everything. There is a certain saturation point in the city that we know that the more energy we put into certain aspects of it, we will not get any of it back. Unfortunately, we're a business, and we, at the end, we want to survive, and we want to continue, not just to make money. There are easier ways to make money. We want to support projects. We want to create something. We want to have the pride in doing something really wonderful. We want to take it outside. We want to show it to people in the city. We want to take it out and show it to people in other cities. I don't know. I often think that maybe that there's a certain saturation point, and that no matter how much more you do, you are not going to cross that. And I'm always pleased to have people look at art and come see what we're doing. But it doesn't mean, and it doesn't mean you're going to sell it. I don't know. I would love to hear some new ideas. But what it has caused, and it's actually a fortunate thing for me and for us at the gallery, is that it has forced us to consider. We've never been to a geography, as everybody who knows who's come to the gallery. It's I don't really consider it geography in terms of our location. So as a result, I don't consider our marketplace geographically based either. We move out and present our work and our artists to everyone as much as we can do, and as much as our budget and resources will allow, and that's actually been a blessing. So it's forced us to think differently. We love our city, we support our city, we look for every single opportunity to work with Ottawa artists and to give back as much as we can, and to try to promote these artists within our community and show the value. But at one point we have to cut bait and we have to move on, and we have to get sales elsewhere. 80% of my sales, maybe even 90% are outside the city. So, and that's the reality.
I'm going to go to Danny in the back.
Just to follow up on that, wouldn't it be up to sort of patrons to mobilize amongst themselves and sort of create sort of groups that are like-minded and like to go to certain functions and galleries and things like that, and sort of generate that sort of community amongst the patrons, and sort of throw the the onus on them to sort of develop that community?
I think I have a very nice group of patrons in the city. They are very wonderful, they're very supportive, they've been very loyal. They are supporting us in ways that I never dreamed, and I'm very appreciative of their support. And I think even amongst themselves, they all know each other, and they have kind of already mobilized on our behalf and have been supportive. And I'm very mindful that people, have to pay for cars, they have to pay for houses, they have to pay for all the things that they have to pay for. So I think I wait for them to support me, and I try to bring in things of value and quality. I think that's occurring already, and I think we've never been at a lack of support from the community. People coming to our exhibitions, people coming to our artist talks. I'm always amazed at the number of people that will get in their car and come down to 2401 Main Street and visit us and see what we're doing. It's great. There's no complaints. It's wonderful. But I just don't know. I really feel a lot of the time that we've hit the saturation point. It's the ceiling, and on the commercial aspect, that's it. However, on the creative aspect, on the creative side of things, there's always room to grow. So I think Danny, that you're right, but I think it is occurring, and I feel it. The other thing is, I didn't mention earlier when I spoke that really, I think that there's a lot of sense that there's competition between the galleries here in the city, and constantly being pitted against people in these artificial little competitions, and that's not the case. I respect, all the galleries in the city have their own little focus, their own mandate, their own point of view, and everybody does their thing, and I respect them so much for having, stayed in business, and they're providing a very useful venue for people to show their work. My competition is really with galleries in Montreal, Toronto, and Vancouver. And the most disheartening thing I find is the collectors and the clients that have an opportunity to buy things from artists that live in this community, or people that we brought in from other cities to show. And I get comments like, I only buy in Montreal, or I only buy in Toronto, or we only buy in New York, or we brought, I find that very disheartening, and that is really what I'm competing with. I'm trying to constantly get the collectors who are going out of town to reconsider their decisions and to look at buying from me, but not just from me, but supporting our artists. And even more importantly is when I bring artists and represent artists from out of town, and I bring them into the city, that they are open to looking at new work. There is still a problem that, and I think it kind of goes into what we were saying earlier. Everybody wants to support, the community wants to support its own, but there is still a little bit of a wall when you bring in artists from other cities and you try to present them as somebody that you believe in, that is doing work that's relevant, that really fits into a much larger framework, and something I'm constantly trying to do is to flesh out things in my own way, my own resources. Something that I find valuable, and connections between artists, and not everyone is going to be from Ottawa. Yet I can always count on a very consistent level of support for the Ottawa artists. Yet I'm always terrified, and I hesitate to bring anybody in from out of town. It's very embarrassing to do that and get zero support. So unfortunately, in the back of my mind, there's probably about a half a dozen artists across the country that are very interested in working together, working with, but I cannot approach them in the same way that I approach an Ottawa artist. I have to be creative, I have to work harder, I have to propose something that's different. I have to propose something that's multi-layered or multi-dimensional, so that even if we don't get the support from the Ottawa community, that project or that collaboration is going to have a shelf life, or a life that goes beyond the community, so that we don't do something and end up looking like losers. So that is something we deal with all the time. So what was the original question? Did I answer anything?